Hey, there we are. Okay, I had to get the video out and promote it and stuff. We're here. We're talking about TKO, Turki Alalshikh, and Dana White starting a new boxing league. I mean, it's been coming for a long time, fellas. It's been coming for a long time, and everybody's acting surprised. The moves have been put into motion for a long time, for a very long time. This is an impromptu live chat to kind of hang out and talk, I guess. I don't know. I've been wanting to do a lot more live stuff lately, and I hadn't been able to, but here we are today, trying this out. I've done live in the past, I have, but man, this new boxing thing is really the news of the week for me. And I say that, yeah, there's a lot of takes about it. Yeah, there is a lot of takes. Some are excited about it, and some are very critical of it, to say the least. I think I fall somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but I also don't think it's, the best either. So if you missed it, and if you're out of the loop for whatever reason, Dana White and Turki Alalshikh, the sports guy from Saudi Arabia that's been giving us all these awesome boxing events, the fights everybody wants to see, Bitter Biev and Bivol 1 and 2, Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. All these important fights that we've been getting in the past few years has been because of the Saudi government and Turki Alalshikh. So yay for them for getting all of this going. But at the same time, what's gonna happen with this? They're announcing it's going to be a boxing league, just like the UFC. I don't know how to feel about it, boys. Part of me is like, okay, so we can finally have they're talking about how, boxing is it messed up and it doesn't work right, yada yada, blah blah, this and that. They're talking about all this. Ghost, what's up, bruh? Talking about boxing, but chime in on whatever you want. Just kind of a Friday fight talk chat, fireside chat. I don't know whatever we're talking about. But I felt like the topic of the week was kind of easily the new UFC boxing league. Ghost, what do you think about it? Because it's interesting to me, but at the same time, there's gonna be some big drawbacks. It's not gonna be the best for the boxers. It'll be better for the fans, and you can, kind of argue what's better. Are we looking out for the boxers who are actually putting their life on the line? We should be, but also, are we looking out for the fans who allow these boxers to go out there and do what they want? I choose to be cynical towards anything the UFC does. I get it, and I know why too. Look at how bad the product's degraded. I get that. But the good news is, I don't think the UFC is completely in charge of the league. Obviously, it's partnered with the Saudis, and everybody's skeptical about the Saudis too. I get it. But man, I don't know. Turki Alalshikh's been doing good things in boxing, and if he's the one that's making the fights and ponying up the money at first, I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be fine for probably a decade. Going to battle with the federal government's not going to be easy. If you want to do a research on it, I'm gonna be a book whore here. This book right here, let me see if you can see it real quick. This book right here, Iron Ambition, Mike Tyson's Iron Ambition, okay? This isn't a book really about Mike Tyson You know, it's more of a book about Cus D'Amato, and a lot of it is Mike Tyson's, time with Cus D'Amato. My question is, TKO and UFC willing to cooperate with different promotions like regular boxing? I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're creating new belts. They're going to capture these new belts, and the branding, or they're not even creating new belts. It's literally going to be the Ring Magazine title. And I called that the second that Turki Alalshikh bought the Ring Magazine, because the value in Ring Magazine is really not. It's not the belt. I mean, it's not the magazine itself. It's the belt and the prestige that the belt's had for a while. But the book Iron Ambition, a lot of people don't realize this, but like, Cus D'Amato is the reason we have the Ali Act. He was a big part in fighting the original sanctioning bodies for boxing back in the 50s with Floyd Patterson. Specifically, it was because of Floyd Patterson, his first heavyweight champion, the first youngest heavyweight champion that he ever had. It's kind of weird. But anyways, basically, they didn't want to give Floyd Patterson the shot to win the title. Eventually, he got it and he won it. Then he lost it to Ingemar Johansson. It looked like the heavyweight title was going to go back to the mobsters, and it didn't. It ended up, they ended up rematching twice again, and Floyd Patterson beat Ingemar Johansson twice out of the 3 times they fought. Beat the brakes off of him, actually. But what I noticed in that book, Iron Ambition, what I noticed was how hard it was, because Cus D'Amato went to court, went and fought all of this stuff against, I think it was the NBA, the National Boxing Association. I think that was the name of it, but it was one of them, and then it split to 2 and then to 3. I'm trying to remember exactly how it went. Anyways, the amount of fight Cus D'Amato and had to put out. Now, this is way before the Ali Act was enacted, sure, but this laid the kind of the groundwork for why they need the Ali Act. Floyd Patterson eventually got the heavyweight title, basically because they were like, hey, you need to do this. And then he went or Floyd Patterson, it wasn't Cus D'Amato. Cus D'Amato actually said, don't go fight Sonny Liston. Floyd Patterson, you didn't rush for him yet, and Sonny Liston like steamrolled him. But anyways, I say all that because the Ali Act is not going to be that easy to overturn, which means these purse splits and everything else that we like about the Ali Act, it'll stay intact for some time, or it might go quickly. Okay, so we know the administration that Dana White is cool with, the president of the United States right now. They're very good friends, and they've been friends for a long time. And if the president calls for the Ali Act to come to an end, what big fights would TKO make for boxing? See, and that's the thing. I think early on, Ghost, I think early on, it would be about fighters like King Callum Walsh, and they would start to pick up these champions. And it wouldn't be great champions at first, Let's see, I'm going to pull up BoxRec real quick here. Let's see, old BoxRec. It's got all the champions. I can't name all the champions. But you might look at like a Boots Ennis, maybe a Junto Nakatani, Kenshiro Taraji would do great with some promotions. Dimitri Bivol is in and out maybe. Jai Opetaia is another one. You got all of these I'm gonna say mid-tier champions. That's what we're gonna call them. And they're going to fight for, we'll call this promotion TKO. I don't know if that'll be the name. But regardless, we'll call it TKO. And they'll be fighting under the TKO banner. And the Ring Magazine belt will be the undisputed belt from there on out. They'll be starting to brand the belt as the biggest fight. So the first thing that they're going to have to do is build the confidence in the belt itself. They're gonna have to add legitimacy to the belt, because this is like a new belt coming out, and you think about it like the WBF. Nobody talks about the WBF. It's not a real belt, you know. But think about it like that. But it does have the history behind it, right? So once they can legitimize the belt and say, hey, this is the one true title in the world, nobody else has a real belt, you're looking at like, who's the world champions in kickboxing? Who's the heavyweight world champion in kickboxer? Or who's the champions in Muay Thai? The WBC has nothing to do with that. They have WBC Muay Thai titles, but they're pointless. They're meaningless. You want Muay Thai, you just go see who the stadium champion is. What was it, Lupini and Rajadamnern? You go see who those are. And that's the approach I think TKO is going to be taking with this. And once they build these titles, and, you know, once these titles are legitimized in the eyes of all of the fans around the world that tune in, I think then we'll see the big fights, okay? And a lot of this has to do with timing with TKO, you know, with the Ali Act, I should say. I'm sorry, not with TKO. A lot of it has to do with the Ali Act and how long it sticks around, okay? So if the Ali Act sticks around for a long time, we'll see high purses, and they might not want to undo the Ali Act because of this, but we'll see high purses like the regular 70-30 split we see from boxing right now. The Saudis will be fine with that. And once they've captured all the best fighters, it's going to be long contracts like the UFC 6-7 fight deals. You'll start to make the super fights. You'll see, I don't think Canelo will be around by the time this is there, but like Canelo Crawford type fights, or Bivol Beterbiev, Usyk, and Fury. Whoever holds this belt will be the best in the world. Granted, if that's true or not, we it won't know, but it won't matter, because the name, the title is going to move from who's the actual best boxer in the world. It's going to take a while to do, but who's the best boxer in the world to who holds the title that says they're the best boxer in the world. UFC, the TKO title. Who holds the TKO? Because whoever has that is the best fighter in the world. Because like, think about it right now. Is Bilal Muhammad the best welterweight in the world? You could make an argument no. Is Dricus du Plessis the best middleweight in the world? Like, you could make an argument no. Or even the best example, okay, I've been overlooking it, but like, is John Jones the best heavyweight in the world right now? You could say no. Like, it's clearly, I believe it's Francis Ngannou. But nobody sees it like that. Nope. They have, what, 45,000 pay-per-view buys on their Francis Ngannou, Renan Ferreira super pay-per-view? Like, what? So, if you got... that just goes to show you the power of the UFC's branding. It's not about... the two best fighters in the world going at it right now. It's about who holds that title. There's better fighters outside of the UFC than a lot of the fighters within. It doesn't matter though. Whoever fights for the UFC fights for everything. Like, I'm gonna go to Tapology. Let's pull up rankings. I'm so over this cough, guys. Worldwide rankings. Let's see. Let's go to lightweights. No, let's go to welter. We talked about welterweights. You got Bilal Muhammad, Jack Dello, Leon Edwards, Gary, Rachmanov, Sean Brady, Joaquin Buckley, Jeff Neal, Michael Morales, Burns, Colby, Thompson. Let's see. I'm going to keep going down. Fakhretdinov. Ugh. Oh, wow. They got this really UFC biased. I'm at 25. Is Shamil Messiah of UFC? I don't think he is he? No, he's PFL. So Shamil Masayev is number 24. Yeah. Let's go back to heavyweight. Aspinall, Jones, Volkov, Gaiman, Cyril Gahn. See, like, these Tapology rankings, they got Francis Ngannou at number 9. Come on, bruh. Come on. But to a really long-winded version of your question goes, I don't think the big fights matter, because I think it's the brand that's going to matter the most for the UFC. I think it's going to be their title is the main attraction, because their title is trusted as the best promotion in the world. I'm gonna wet my whistle. It's weird. I don't. Obviously, we don't know how this is gonna work. It seems like they've kind of been piddling with this with Callum Walsh for a long time. Yeah, the idea of promoting a boxer, they kind of getting their feet wet in there and stuff. I get it, but at the same time, like, there's a lot of unknowns about how this is going to play out once everything kind of dies down and we see what they're doing. Talking about September, maybe the 1st to 12th, which is like a Friday or a Thursday or something like that. They're talking about that being the first one, which is a long way away, 6 months from now. And I get you got a lot to just kind of hash out. So I don't know, man. Like, part of me is like, this is good. This is going to be great. The UFC model will absolutely work for boxing, on like a superficial level. Like, if we were starting from scratch, like, this would be the way that you would want it done. But now that we've given the boxers so much, like, nobody's going to want to go to a $50,000 fight of the night bonus. No, nobody's going to go to 10-10 coming in. No. These boxers make hundreds of... Martin Piccoli made $600,000 to step in on 2 days' notice to fight Joseph Parker. Like, that's a lot of money. Or $800,000. The guy that Shakur fought, Clancy, made $600,000. Yeah, it's not going to work. And I think that's why the Saudis had to step in. I think that's why Saudi Arabia had to come in like, look, Dana, you've been wanting to do this for a while. We've kind of got our feet in this. The Madrimov-Terence Crawford fight was terrible. The card was bad. Even though, like, the fights themselves weren't that bad. And we had Terence Crawford, the number 2 pound-for-pound guy, number 3 maybe in the world on it. But we'll give the money. And that's, I think, one of the things that Endeavor TKO guy, whatever he works for, Mark Shapiro, brought up, was like, there's no investment in it from TKO aside from their knowledge and know-how to put on events. And I liked a lot of the things that Dana White was saying. You know, the whole he's these undefeated boxers, the best are going to fight the best now. Like, that's something that I like to hear, and that's something that we need, right? That's something we need to see. The best fighting the best. But at what you know, what's the stakes? At what cost? You know, what's it going to cost us to have the best actually fight the best? It's going to be a lot, actually. It's going to cost the boxers a lot, and part of me is like, you know, the best fighting the best, shorter cards. Thank God. Hopefully, no more concerts. It's about the worst thing the Saudis do is have concerts. It's terrible. Like, we're waiting for a main event, and we got to go listen to this rapper I've never heard of. Like, and I'm not gonna sit here and be like a papa saying like, "Oh, this rap music gotta go." Like, man, I like me some hip hop music, but a lot of it's like hip hop music I don't know, I've never heard, and I'm like, I just don't feel like hearing this. They did a Metallica one, I think, before one of their fights. I'm like, I don't want to see Metallica at all. You know, I'm not biased to anybody specifically. I just don't want a concert before my fights. I want to get to the fights. I don't even want the national freaking anthems before a fight. Hot take, boys. I don't like the national anthem. I don't know, bro. Like it's such a weird position to be in, because I do think, like, I'm kind of nuanced about it. I do think that this is going to be better for me, the viewer, me, the fan. I think it's going to help out. It's not that boxing's unknown. I think it's going to help grow the sport with a newer generation and make actual fans of the sport. You know, there's a difference between knowing that something exists and being a fan of it. Like you can know boxing exists. Oh, yes, two people punching each other, but like, are you a fan? Do you tune in and watch Terrence Crawford fight? Do you tune in and watch Canelo? Do you watch Kenshiro Taraji fight, who fights next weekend? How big of a fan are you? Like, are you watching Apex cards? Oh, boxing at the Apex. Good God, that's going to be horrible. I don't want to watch that. And like, I'm so invested in the UFC now, like, I feel like I have to watch Apex events. They're so bad, though. And they always tease you, like, hey, there's this one fight at the very top that kind of means something. And they're getting worse and worse as it goes. But hey, whatever, you know, I get it. Hopefully they're going away from it. That would be the best thing to happen to it, for sure, because the Apex is just... And maybe the expansion will make it a little bit better, adding new people to it, you know, but I don't see it happening. I don't see the Apex going away. I don't see it being that much better either, honestly. I just don't see that happening. It's one of those things, like, whatever. I'm contemplating, like, going to sleep instead of staying up for this Apex. But then, like, the Apex cards are so early, it's like, you can stay up till 8:30, dude. Come on, you're not that old. And yeah, I do. I stay up and watch almost all of them. I missed the Almabayev one. No, I didn't. I watched Almabayev. I missed Tank on that night. I was like, I'm going to sleep, bro. I'm not watching Tank fight freaking Lamont Roach for him to get knocked out. I'll see the highlight on X the next day. And lo and behold, I missed one of the most controversial and consequential fights of the year. Like, a draw? What? Okay, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird spot to be in for the UFC. It's and then you get to boxing, and it's like, we see how bad it is. You know, we see how bad the UFC has become since the pandemic, since we opened up Pandora's box and opened the door to these Apex events, you know, because it was originally just Contender Series fights, and they were traveling every week. But, like, how fast will that come to boxing? Because it's not, will that come to boxing? It's, how fast will it be coming to boxing? You know? Because it's coming. And it's not going to be good. The boxers, again, legitimacy will be in the title itself, in the belt. Legitimacy won't be like, oh, you know, this right here is the best boxer in the world. Like, no, that's not what's going to happen. No, it's going to be the legitimacy in the belt. Now, I will say this. Something else I called. I was like, hey, I wouldn't be surprised if we see weight classes more in line with what the UFC does. They might have extra weight classes in there. They might have like a cruiserweight in there. Don't expect Bridger weight of all things. And lo and behold, Dana White said today, like, we're going to lower the amount of weight classes. I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. You know, 130 and 133, that's a bit much. You know, if you can go every 10 pounds, 135, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 195 would be light heavyweight, and then 205 would be cruiserweight, and then heavyweight. Like, obviously, you know, you have 135, 125, maybe 115. You'd have to sign the bigger names for that, and that's probably where they could get into. Like, hey, Kenshiro Taraji, like, you need promotion because you're a great boxer, and sure enough, they get in there and they get it done. I can get behind that, but less weight classes, we'll probably lose a bunch of super weight classes and stuff like that. But whatever. Again, I don't know. Like on one side, you've got this whole everything the UFC touches these days turns to crap, but then also like there are some things about boxing that, first of all, I love the sport of boxing. I'm to the point where I almost like boxing more than MMA. But you got this boxing thing, and it's honestly it's very hard to follow, right? Like boxing's a hard sport to follow. What's on ESPN Plus this weekend? What's on Amazon Prime? What's on DAZN? Which DAZN usually has most of them. But what's on all these things now? Who's got this champion? How many belts are there? Wow, how many belts? He's got 5. Why does he have 5 belts? Oh, he's the Commonwealth champion too. Like, there's these issues in boxing that need to be fixed, but you can't fix it because there's nobody that like wants to actually fix it, right? Nobody wants to go out there and fix whatever was wrong with boxing. Like, there's nothing wrong with it, right? No, I mean, sure you can say that, I guess. I don't know, man. It's an odd spot. I get the feeling like it will go to crap. And I hinted on this a minute ago, and I didn't quite get exactly where I wanted to be on it, but like, this will be better for the viewer, for the fan. If it works. Okay, they got to build the legitimacy in the belt first. This will be better for the fans. But should the fans be our priority? Should the shareholders be our priority? Or should the boxers be our priority, right? Or should the promotion be our priority? And the answer is very clearly like the boxers should be the priority. I think that's like a no-brainer. Like, I think the MMA fighters should be the priority too, and I don't think they are. I think the shareholders are now the priority for TKO. I mean, I think that's evident by the amount of Apex events we get now, right? But the boxers are currently the priority. They're the most important part, and they should be. This is what they deserve, right? But how much of that, because you can, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, how am I gonna say this without like sounding stupid at first? Because I want y'all to hear me out. How much less of a priority can the boxers be while still making them the number one priority? Right? I read a stat, it's like somewhere like a 70-30 split between the boxers and the promoters. Like, I don't know, a 60-40? 55-45? How much less can you pay the boxers in the long run? It's a dark question. Like, these guys are already making $10 million a fight, right? No, the top at least. Are they going to be willing to take these pay cuts? And there won't be pay cuts at first. They still have to put on events in the United States. They'll have to adhere to what the Ali Act says because they're fighting in the United States. How will it be enforced? That's another question. Because you know who Dana White's really good friends with that lives in the White House, and he works in the White House. How much of that is going to come into play? I don't know, man. It's a hard question. Again, as a fan, I'm like, yeah. But as a guy who covers the sport and talks about the sport, thinks about the sport all day while I'm at work, it might not be the best for the boxers. And you got this dichotomy, like, what's best for boxing might not be what's best for the boxers, right? You gotta find that happy medium in there somewhere. Like, you have to benefit the boxers as much as you can, and also help the sport of boxing grow. And like, boxing is a huge sport, but like, the United States younger generation couldn't care less about boxing. It's all MMA. And as somebody who watches both boxing and MMA pretty religiously, actually, like, boxing's fun, man. There's more of a sport aspect to it. Like, that's one of the things I like about boxing so much. It's like, it's 12 rounds instead of a maximum of 5, right? So you got like ebbs and flows in fights. You don't have Beterbiev and Bivol in MMA. You don't have that kind of a fight. Instead, you have slugfest, right? But like, Beterbiev comes out or Bivol comes out and he's all over Beterbiev, and you have that moment in the middle of the fight where it looks like Beterbiev is taking over and really running through Dmitry Bivol, but then like Dmitry Bivol comes back. You don't have those ebbs and flows in MMA fights like that. Boxing's an amazing sport. Oh, it's such a limited rule set. I don't care if it's a limited rule set. I love limited rule sets. Like, there's so many different types of sports out there. So many types of wrestling out there. Grappling and striking that are like different. Like, Dambe is one-handed boxing. Or Muay Thai is basically boxing. It's just a less restrictive form of boxing, right? Kickboxing is like a less restrictive form of boxing, but more restricted than Muay Thai. You've got a whole bunch of different wrestling in it, like Irish collar and elbow. You have to have this one grip. Glima, you have to have this one grip. Scottish back hold, or you got freestyle wrestling or catch wrestling or jiu-jitsu. It's like, hey, just on the ground. So like, the rule set shouldn't, for me, like, the rule set doesn't, whatever. I don't care about the rule set. As long as it's cool and fun to watch, as long as it's a sport that's entertaining, I'm going to watch it. Yeah, I think boxing's worth watching. I mean, I don't think people are gonna hate on it because it's such a limited rule set, but like, it's only a matter of time before that changes again. Boxing's been around for forever. Like, we've had boxing and MMA at the same time before. Like, the ancient Greeks, for example, they thought boxing was more brutal than pancration, which was wrestling boxing mixed, right? I thought it was more brutal. I'm gonna plug a book. Why not? This one right here. I don't think it's in print anymore. Combat Sports in the Ancient World by Michael B. Playakov. That's how you spell his name. This is a book about the ancient Greeks, and it goes into detail. Let's see. It's got notations. Let's see. Like, diagrams from wrestling and stuff from ancient Egypt and Greece. It's a real good book, real good read. I should actually get that one. That's a book. That's one of the first, one of my favorite books. I should probably go back and read it. Guys, I'm gonna be AFK for a second. I gotta go take a wee, so y'all just bear with me. Alright, I'm back. Sorry. I'll go to a club where people wee on each other. Boxing, UFC, it's something we can't get away from, but good for the fans, bad for the boxer. I guess that'll be kind of my main 2 cents on it, you know? I don't know really what else to say on that. But I do know that this will be it'll be interesting going forward. I think it'll be interesting for the sport of boxing. It'll be a good experiment, and it can always go back. You know, we can always go back to WBA, WBC, IBF, and IBO, or whoever. ABCDFGs. You know, we'll see. UFC 313s this weekend. I guess we can talk a little bit about that, huh? Pereira versus Ankalaev. It's a good fight, man. That's a real good fight. I did some study on Ankalaev because we know Alex Pereira's MO. He's going to chop your legs down and look for big punches, and that's kind of what he does. He's got big old punches and big old leg kicks, and I think the leg kicks are going to be the X factor here. He's going to chop down Magomed Ankalaev's legs. Now that's not saying that that Ankalaev won't beat him. I think it's actually a fairly close fight. I don't think it's the closest, but like some numbers and stats don't tell you everything. Off topic, do you get weirdos in your replies who complain about terminology? Most of you videos, people getting angry over terms. I think terminology is the stupidest. Oh my gosh, yeah. I think terminology is the stupidest thing, Ghost, like, ever. It's actually like, bro, I don't know the Japanese words. I'm a guy from South Louisiana who does not know how to speak English, my primary language, so I'm not going to Osotogari. Like, I couldn't tell you what an Osotogari is. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Now, if you say like he threw a right cross and it was like an overhand, like, yeah, that's different, right? But like, if you're nitpicking the fine details, like, shut up. It doesn't matter. Who cares what you call it? Like, like a tornado kick. Like, shut up. Like, even like not even Japanese names. Like, does it actually matter? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, do you understand my intent? It's silly, man. Like, why does that matter? Why? Terminology doesn't matter. Like, oh my gosh, here we go. Here we go. Oh my gosh. All right. So look at my opinion. I've muted that guy and I never saw his reply. Fight metric counts. So here we go. Ghost, this is actually Southpaw Killer is what people, they're mad at you calling it a Southpaw Killer. Bro, that's as people who are on YouTube, like, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like, is what's going to get you more views? Hey, this is the right cross against the southpaw, or hey guys, this is the Southpaw Killer. It's the same punch. You just got people to click. And I mean, granted, it is a fair name too. It's very, very well descriptive. Like Dagestani handcuff, for example. Everybody hates on the term Dagestani handcuff, but when you say, hey, Dagestani handcuff, what are we talking about? We're talking about pulling the arm out with the other arm as someone's trying to get up. But like, look at my opinion on X of my comment. Oh, 6 minutes ago. It said fight metric counts checks across the spectrum. You actually have to full on miss the target for them to count it as a miss. And then somebody underneath him, Bishop Pagan, said, under the actual definition of a UFC significant strike, quote, any strike thrown at range that lands, a jab to the guard counts as a significant strike. Shut up. Nobody cares. Like, it's just terminology, bro. And look, let's see. Look at my opinion. What? Yeah, it's a lot of skewed numbers for things like high guards too. But I know from researching Jones versus Reyes, they will update the numbers if a strike is very obviously blocked or parried. They don't do the same thing for leg kicks of any kind. Okay, like nobody cares. Conor and Dan has defined it as an overhand from a southpaw versus southpaw matchup, and guys are angry. Oh, okay, I'm thinking of the wrong thing. So I guess we do need the terminology to be right, guys, because I was wrong on it. Oh goodness, an overhand from a southpaw versus southpaw, or southpaw versus orthodox. Because yeah, I may be misunderstanding what the southpaw killer is now. And I've watched your video. Oh goodness. Oh my goodness. Having some jacuzzi fun. Merab Dvalishvili is in a jacuzzi with Sean O'Malley right now. That's weird. Okay, whatever though. Yeah, I mean, I trust what Conor and Dan say. Like, I was listening to you and JD the other day talk about breakdown and scouting the difference, and I'm like, man, I try it. Southpaw versus southpaw. Close. Okay, so a closed stance on southpaw. Ghost, does that work because neither of them are used to dealing with an overhand from a closed stance matchup? Is that why it's is that why they're calling it southpaw killer? Because like, I don't block overhands from this side of my body ever. I only fight orthodox fighters. So that makes sense. Yeah, but anyways, I don't know. Terminology is stupid. Like, does it actually matter at the end of the day? Like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't care. It's not a big deal. People are so mad about it. The southpaw killer. That's not the right words. Like, no, it does. It doesn't matter. Like, watch the video and see what I'm talking about. It's not a conventional terminology. So see what I'm talking about. Maybe I've given it a cool little nickname in my head that I'm kind of sharing with everyone. That's exactly. Neither southpaw are used to dealing with a southpaw rear straight or over. Okay, yeah. I got you. I was thinking, how the cross is really effective in an open stance matchup. That's what I was thinking the southpaw killer was. Kind of the cross. Think Anthony Joshua knocking down Francis Ngannou with it after he switched to southpaw in their fight. That's what I was kind of referring to. But yeah, that makes complete sense. If I'm not used to dealing with. I mean, there's plenty of orthodox fighters out there, and orthodox versus orthodox, the overhand right's probably a common thing on day one. Where southpaws are probably hurting for lefties to come in there and fight. It is what it is. I don't. Yeah. So I don't know how a lot of people really get mad about it. I don't think it really matters. Someone quote tweeted my Ankalaev low kick stats and said this is literally what not watching fights looks like. I can guarantee you, the Bad Wolf, I can guarantee you I've watched more fights than you. You joined this website in September of 2024. I've watched more fights since then than you've watched in your entire life. I'm tweeting that back. I've watched more fights since you've joined this site than you've watched in your entire life. Get out of here. I've stopped being like the pacifist. Like, I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna dunk on a sucker every now and then. Why not? It's fun. You get that and dunk on him once or twice and get on out. I think the low kicks. We got on a big tangent of terminology. I think the low kicks are going to be a big deal this weekend against Ankalaev. And I was referring to that a second ago in that quote tweet. Rakic landed 34 of 40. Blachowicz 25 of 29. Thiago Santos landed 30 of 37. Volkan Ozdemir landed 22 of 23. Now, all those aren't good fighters. They don't have the power. And I don't even know if that if Pereira throws with all his power, right? He's just content to touch you, like with his low kick. No, did he? He's just content to touch you with his low kick, and eventually it'll hurt. You know, the little shortcut kick, he doesn't turn his hips over. It's not as powerful as it could be because he's not turning his shoulders or hips over. But again, it doesn't matter because the leg can only take a certain amount of damage, and he's going to just touch you with it repeatedly, just whap, 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 and you know, let's go look at his volume. Let's go look at his volume. UFCstats.com. I'm curious. I want to see how many low kicks Alex Pereira's throwing. So against Roundtree, he threw 18 or 22. Against Prohaska, these are going to be lower sounding numbers. But keep in mind, he's knocked most of them out. 9 of 9 against Yuri. Against Hill, 6 of 9. Against Yuri the first time, 12 of 15. Now we're getting to his longer fights. So the Blachowicz fight, 21 of 22. He's very effective with the Izzy fight, 26 of 36. Izzy's going to make him miss. The first Izzy fight, 22 of 35. Nothing against Strickland, really. Yeah, so Bruno Silva, that's the last one I'm going to look at. Only 7 of 9 against Bruno Silva. So yeah, he's really voluminous with these low kicks. I think that's a big deal. Will Big Ink come back with the worst possible? What can we guess? That Big Ink will come in with the worst possible game plan. Yeah, this is the worst possible game plan. Ankalaev's going to come out and he's going to be like, hey, my chin's going to hold up. Have you ever watched a Dagestani fight? We don't get knocked out. And Alex Pereira's going to be like, I ain't even bleed him yet. Can I bleed him? Bet. Let's do it. Then again, I don't recall seeing Ankalaev rocked ever. So he might have a chin, but then again, you can have as much of a chin as you want, but it's only going to be able to hold up to so much, and Pereira just beats the brakes off of people. I don't think the game plan is going to be knock him out. I think the game plan from Alex Pereira is going to be in here. It's going to be chop him down, chop his legs down. I think that's going to be the go-to for Alex Pereira in this. I think he can really go out there and actually do a lot of damage with that too. I think that'll be a good solid game plan for Alex Pereira. Magomed Ankalaev, he talking about I'm going to wrestle, but he doesn't wrestle that much. He's a striker. He's very much a striker, and I feel like I said this a couple times leading up to this, but I feel like he's a Brazilian in 2007, 2008. Oh, he's Brazilian. He was born with a brown belt. All Brazilians got black belts. Meanwhile, they're talking about Edson Barboza or Jose Aldo. I'm sure Jose Aldo's a great grappler. As a matter of fact, I know he's a great grappler on the ground. I've seen him in jiu-jitsu matches and stuff. But at the end of the day, that's not what Jose Aldo's coming to do, baby. Jose Aldo's coming to bang it out, counter you. He's not going to wrestle. He's also not going to low kick, which is what he's good at. I think he has PTSD from actually low kicking Uriah Faber so much. Either that or he's just, he's evolved as a fighter. He's like, I don't want to throw low kicks anymore. I don't like them. Which is crazy because it's like Deontay Wilder saying, hey, I'm not going to throw my right hand out. I'm just going to use my left hand. What are you doing, bro? Or Mirko Krukop not punching or not kicking at all. Why? And yeah. I don't know. It's a fun time. I point out those stats, Ghost, and like I know stats don't tell a fight. Like we know like stats don't tell you the whole fight. Like you can't judge a fight based off of stats. But I do find it interesting that everybody has landed low kicks at such a high clip, and low kicks also are damaging even if you check them. Right? Like they're damaging even if you check them. So yeah, I get it. You can't really go by stats. Blah blah. Whatever. Shut it. Don't want to hear it. Yeah, I do. I think Ankalaev's gonna come in with the worst game plan possible. Gaethje and Fiziev, Rafael Fiziev. It's a weird fight, man, because there's so many questions coming into this. So many unknowns about, what's Rafael Fiziev's legs gonna look like. How's Justin Gaethje gonna be after that Max Holloway knockout? There's the whole Justin Gaethje. I'm going back to my old way of fight, which was like the brawling, which that kind of seems like it would play into Rafael Fiziev's hands. So, is he gonna fight like that, or is he gonna fight more with the jab on point, kind of like we saw in the first fight? Jalen Turner and Ignacio Bahamondes is a good fight. I like Bahamondes, man. He's good fun. Turner's not too good for him to stop, and he's not that McDessie or Ludovic Klein type fighter to where it's like in your face all the time, just chopping you down. Like Jalen Turner's gonna sit out there and try and point with him. I think that plays into Ignacio Bahamondes' favor. I just like saying his name, guys. Honestly, I just like saying Ignacio Bahamondes. Ghost's second favorite fighter, Amanda Lemos, which is just behind Carlos Esparza for him. How funny was my thread of Justin Gaethje drilling jabs? I didn't see it. I didn't. Maybe I've retweeted it, but I go back and see it. Was it like him just drilling the jab and then never using it? Or was it him like throwing a bunch of power punches and never jabbing? Because he's got such a pretty jab when he uses it. But yeah, Ghost, Amanda Lemos and Asmin Lucindo. You gotta be excited for that fight. Lucindo's not too bad. Like, she's not great, but I used to think Lemos wasn't too bad either. But yeah, just got armbarred by Verna Jandaroba. Verna's fun. I like Verna. I've interviewed Verna before, and I'm super biased to people that I've interviewed. Ruffy versus King Green's interesting. Is Bobby Green gonna be that dude, or is Marcusio Ruffy right for the top? Curtis Blades taking on Rizvan Kuniev. Failed for. How do you like pop for PEDs and PFL? First of all, why is PFL even testing for PEDs? I'll DM you. Thanks, buddy. I'll DM it. I'm gonna go check it out right now, actually. But like, why is PFL even testing for PEDs? Like, bro, you need every chance you get. Do you hold the door open for a person behind you, regardless of his age, sex, color? What? Shut up. Where you at, Ghost? Send me the link. There it is. Justin Gaethje drilling various types of jabs in Trevor Whitman's instructional series. Time you might see him working jabs, he rarely uses it in his fights, and they're so good. Basic jab moving forward. Basic jab moving backwards. Yeah, he's jab. Basic jab moving to the left and to the right. I know Trevor Whitman has him doing this. Because I can see him actually doing this to him. Oh my gosh, this is great. Oh, dude, that's a banger. It's got like 500 likes too. That's pretty good. Secrets to jab. Fencing jab. Oh no. Like, I'm sure this is great. How long did he spend on jabs on this instructional? I love your last tweet, Ghost. I hope you enjoyed this thread of all the jabs Justin Gaethje drills, but never uses. He does use his jab in Fight Example, proving my point that he uses it rarely. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Fiziev, he used it a lot in the Fiziev fight, but I'm with you. Like, he don't use it near enough, man. He's so good with it. Like, he's got such a nice jab, and he won't use it ever. Sucks. Really sucks. I hate seeing that though. I do hate seeing good fighters not use their good weapons. It's weird because like Trevor Whitman, man, he's like this great mind, this great coach. And either like they leave him like Usman, or they're bonehead brain dead like Justin Gaethje is like, I'm not receptive to anything you're saying. Or it's Rose Namajunas, who's married to Pat Barry, and the only one of two Louisiana fighters I don't represent, other being Andrea Lee, because she's North Louisiana, and that's not Louisiana, that's just South Arkansas. But like, imagine what who's a highly coachable fighter that has good listening skill. Okay. Like, imagine what Trevor Whitman would do with a Zhang Weili. Like, she's already invincible, but like, I'm not saying necessarily her team's perfect for her. What do you think of Trevor Whitman as a coach? Good, or is his fighters that are weird, dude? That's what I'm exactly saying. But like, imagine him with a fighter that can listen to coaching. Like, actually listen and apply. And I think that's what we had with Rose Namajunas at first. Like, she listens and applies, and that's how she became champion. But then she just starts listening to Pat Barry, and it's like the last person I want to get advice in, as Rose Namajunas is from Pat Barry, who's one of the least technical fighters in the world. But yeah, it's his fighters. I think he's a good coach. I don't think he's a stern enough coach now. I don't think he commands enough respect from the fighters that will listen to him. Like, Justin Gaethje's going to go out there and do what Justin Gaethje does. So, you know, part of it's that. But if he had like a highly coachable fighter, like a Zhang Weili, or even like a John Jones. John Jones is a coachable fighter. I'm trying to think who else is like super cool. Dricus du Plessis would be like amazing under Trevor Whitman. Like, it is as bad as Dricus is. Like, if Trevor went in there and was just like, hey, here's how you throw a 1-2. I'm gonna tell you what to do when. Like, Dricus would be pretty good. Leon Edwards? No, Leon gets too much in his head. Let me see who else they got out there. Let's go to UFC /rankings. Let's see what they got. Merab? No, Merab's gonna do what he does. Umar would be amazing under like a Trevor Whitman, but like Javier Mendez has Umar looking good. Corey Sandhagen, like, he seems like the no-brainer for Trevor Whitman, but kind of just like came a little too late, I guess. Or Trevor kind of didn't really mess with Corey Sandhagen until then. Davison Figueiredo is another fun one that would be good under him. Islam, I mean, again though, like, Islam has everything he needs, really. But like, they would tell him like, hey, Trevor, you can coach Max Holloway. I want Lucinda to lose because it's not cage fighting, and she thinks she's the next big thing at Strawbake, and it's terrible. Yeah, you think every fighter that weight's terrible. Relatively, I don't think she's horrible. I don't think Lucinda has the skills to apply the stuff I outlined in my scouting report from No. Oh, you talking about on Zhang Weili? I don't think so. All right, guys. Well, look, my wife just got home with my son. It's time for him to go to bed. I got to get out